Tonight, we lifted the Bell Jet Ranger to Burnsville, Bob Pates Field, and homecoming for the Braves. And what a game. Second-ranked Burnsville against third-ranked Apple Valley. Talk about a defensive battle. Nothing till the last play of the game. Burnsville's Matt Johnson kicks the winning field goal, the only scoring of the game. And Burnsville tops Apple Valley. That's 2 and 3 in the ranks, 3-0. The annual Halloween Bowl in Anoka. They celebrate a little early up there, I guess. Tornadoes hosting Roseville, and the Rams had their problems with the state top-ranked team. Anoka's Brooke Parent lofts to Jeremy Loritz and touchdown Tornadoes, making it 8-zip. 56-0 Anoka in the fourth. Upset in Blaine tonight. The Bengals hosting fourth-ranked Stillwater, but this one's all Blaine. Third quarter, Bengal quarterback Aaron Smith back to pass to Chad Weeks. Touchdown. That put Blaine up 28-7. They went on to win 35-14. Now on to the Class A scene. The Orono Spartans found out quickly that what it was like to be a number.
Burnsville now 7-0 in the season. The Eagles fall to 6-1. A disappointing night for Osseo coach John Hansen. He was hoping to get career win number 257, but he didn't get it tonight. Hansen is stuck on 256, which keeps him tied with Fairmont's Tom Mahoney for the most career wins by a Minnesota prep coach. The final at Osseo tonight, Jefferson wins it 20-2. There's the Burnsville final. Big win for them. Park Center over Kennedy, and Rosemount beat Armstrong. In the Lake Blue at Minnetonka, the unbeaten Skippers driving against Wayzata. Brian Cohen scores from 4 yards out, 14-7 Tonka. 24 seconds to go. Wayzata will score a touchdown. Ryan Alstead to Aaron Swanson. It's 14-13. They go for the two-point conversion and the win. And watch what happens. Wayzata needing a win to take the lead in the conference. Alstead takes it in himself, and the Wayzata Trojans win over Minnetonka tonight in a great game. The final 15-14. Edina beat Egan, Cooper over St. Louis Park, and Richfield beat Eden Prairie. The matchup everyone has been waiting for in the Minnesota Conference took place in Hutchinson tonight. The Tigers at 5-1 hosted Lakeville, also 5-1. Hutch was coming off a tough loss last week to New Prague, and Lakeville and Hutch early in this game tied at 7. Number 30, Derek McGriff on the loose. 24 yards for the TD for Lakeville. They led 14-7. Back comes Hutch. Quarterback Eric Killian, number 86, Chad Schlimming, open for the touchdown, tied at 14. New Prague watching the score with interest tonight because they're also 5-1 heading in. The final just in. Lakeville beats Hutchinson 34-28. Lakeville had beaten New Prague this year, so Lakeville leads the Minnesota. Red Wing over Shakopee 48-19. Benilde nothing in on that one. Chaska over Northfield. Anoka hosting Roseville. It's homecoming. No score from Anoka. Stillwater beaten tonight soundly by Blaine 35-14. Forest Lake over White Bear Lake, and Hill Murray a winner. In the North Suburban, Mounds View wins tonight over St. Francis. Elk River still leads the conference at 6-1 with a win over Columbia Heights. Shane Martin, 3 touchdowns. He had 6 carries for 56 yards tonight and 3 scores against Columbia Heights, and the Elks win it 47-19. Meanwhile, at Totino Grace, Spring Lake Park's defense gets a safety in the second half. Number 41, John Gertis, gets credit with this one. The Panthers hold on to win. They hold the Eagles to only 6 points. The final tonight at Fridley, 10-6, Spring Lake Park. Irondale over Centennial, and Fridley beat Buffalo 32-6. In the Tri-Metro Conference, Bryce Darnell, the star quarterback at Brooklyn Center, against unbeaten De La Salle. Touchdown pass here. Marcus Harris, 8 catches, 167 yards. He had a school record 89-yard reception for a TD, but back comes De La Salle. Jim Robillard, 40-yard connection here. It sets up a De La Salle touchdown. Charles Maddox will take it in. De La Salle comes back to win this game 26-21 to stay unbeaten at 7-0. Meanwhile, Orono survived a scare against St. Agnes. Number 31, Chris Hawkinson, scores on a 25-yard run. The Aggies led 6-0, but Orono, number 1 ranked in the state in Class A, wins it 14-8 as we go to the scores. De La Salle over Brooklyn Center. Matamidi beat Blake. Breck over St. Bernard's. Minnehaha Academy a winner, 30-6. Most important game of the year in the Wright County Conference took place in St. Michael tonight. Unbeaten Delano at 6-0 against St. Michael.
Valley taking on unbeaten Burnsville. And boy, was this a game. Defense the theme. Burnsville quarterback Chad Eamon's pass going off Mike Donnelly's pads and into Dan Krenzel's hands. Eagles couldn't convert. It was scoreless in the fourth. Eamon back again for his favorite target. That time, Donnelly hangs on. He doesn't drop too many. It sets up a last-second field goal. Matt Johnson decides it. A 22-yarder. Celebration time in Burnsville. The defending state champion Braves win that defensive struggle 3-0. Jefferson defeats Osseo 20-0. So Dick Hansen stays at 256 wins. 21-7 Rosemount over Armstrong, and Park Center shuts out Kennedy 49-0. Well, it heated up in Minnetonka, and when the smoke bomb finally cleared, they played a football game. Minnetonka taking on Wayzata in the Lake Blue Showdown. Skipper standout quarterback Justin McHugh, 22 yards. Yes, they came out smoking. McHugh, one of the most productive offensive weapons in the Metro. Wayzata did answer just before the half. Ryan Alstead finds Brad McDowell, and it was Alstead with a 2-point conversion at the end of the game as Wayzata wins it 15-14 in the thriller. Edina knocks off Egan 28-14. Cooper shuts out St. Louis Park, and Richfield a 32-6 winner over Eden Prairie. A packed house in Brooklyn Center. Alumni made proud of the Centaurs' 5-1 record, taking on unbeaten De La Salle for the Tri-Metro title. Standout quarterback Bryce Darnell to Marcus Harris. The Centaurs led 7-0. But De La Salle bounced back. They have an unblemished record. Jim Robillard to captain Jason Rudquist. It set up a touchdown by star Charles Maddox. De La Salle goes on to win that game and the conference 26-21. Blake is beaten by Montemita in a shootout 47-28. Elsewhere, Farmington over St. Anthony, and Breck defeats St. Bernard's 28-14. In the Twin Cities Suburban Conference, two of the league's top teams, Stillwater and Blaine, squared off, and George Stoll looking for his 200th win with Stillwater. But tonight, his ponies were trampled. Aaron Smith with a quick slant here for 6 to Aaron Smith. Dave Nelson has built a traditional power. Blaine, no problem tonight, 35-14 over Stillwater. I think you'd have to go quite a ways back before you'd find Stillwater losing by that score. Forest Lake, good team this year, 10-6 winners over the Bears. Anoka, #1 in the state in AA, defeats Roseville 45-6. Hugh Murray by 1 over Coon Rapids. Hastings beats Woodbury, and Tartan by 7 over South St. Paul. Other action, Park Cottage Grove, a 1-point win, and Henry Sibley beats Simley 25-2. The beat goes on at Minneapolis Edison. The Tommies took care of North this afternoon on their way to their 2nd straight conference title. Raylan Hicks, Edison's most dangerous offensive weapon, 44 yards through the North defense. Edison the easy way, 28-12. Southwest celebration of 50 years as a high school, dampened by Hopkins football team today. Rucker Johnson takes the punt. He could go all the way. The talented senior athlete helped the Royals run away with this one. 53-6 was the final score there. Edison defeats North 28-12. There's that 53-6 score. 34-8 Washburn beats Henry. Other Minneapolis action, Roosevelt, the Teddies roll. Mounds View defeats St. Francis 21-7, and Irondale to 23-0 shutout of Centennial. Elk River bombs Columbia Heights 47-19. Fridley is a winner, and Spring Lake Park knocks off Totino Grace 10-6. Homecoming for St. Agnes High School. The Aggies picked a tough opponent, Class A's #1 rated Orono Spartans. St. Agnes was the first team this year to hold a lead on Orono, 6-0 on sophomore Darren Lloyd's run here. He's one to watch, but Orono scored twice in the second half and dominated with defense. Tom Nash, one of the Spartans' standout linemen, sacks Brian Fitzgerald. Orono rallies in that one for a 14-8 win. Minnehaha Academy, no problem with Mound. Elsewhere, Johnson over Como Park, 21-14, and Highland Park bops Central, 30-22. They painted their faces red to show support for the Red Knights at Benilde St. Margaret's. Then they cheered them on when Pat Hook hooked up with Mike Hernandez over the Prior Lake defense, and it was 14-7 Prior Lake winning here in Minnesota Conference action play. Elsewhere in the Minnesota, 6-1 for Hutchinson now, a 34-28 winner over Lakeville. So Hutch takes the lead in the Minnesota. Did I say Lakeville?
Lakeville won.
Lakeville won. Okay, thank you. Red Wing defeats Shakopee 48-19. Other action. Chaska defeats Northfield. Delano is knocked off by St. Michael Albertville by 1. Delano previously unbeaten. Annandale defeats Waconia 20-14. Other scores, Argyle Goodrich is a winner. Glencoe defeats Dassel Kakedo, and Braham defeats St. Paul Academy, SPA 20-0. Sleepy Eye, they've moved up to #10 in Class C right now. Last week they played 3 teams. Tonight it was 4.
Who are they?
Mapleton, Amboy, Good Thunder, Minnesota Lake. Couldn't beat them. The Indians win it 33-0.
Not bad.
All
And
right.
before if I don't get a chance to tell you again, Timberwolves win 32 this year.
You picked it right on the nose
Picked
last
22
year.
last
Yes,
year.
you did.
32 this year.
Okay, they'll be happy with that.
Okay.
Good morning and welcome to another week of Breakfast with the Coaches. For all of you later risers, let's run down some high school football results in the Twin Cities Suburban Conference last night. Number 1 ranked Anoka was at home for the 1990 Pumpkin Bowl, and they defeated Roseville by a score of 45-6. The Raiders getting the last touchdown of the game against the Anoka reserves. Blaine surprised Stillwater. The Bengals came away with a 35-14 victory in that one. It was Hill Murray holding off Coon Rapids. The Pioneers scored in the first quarter, as did the Cardinals. Hill Murray made the extra point. Coon Rapids missed their extra point, and the game went into a 7-6 final in favor of Hill Murray. And Forest Lake held off White Bear Lake. The Rangers won last night by a score of 10-6. In the North Suburban Conference, number 1 Elk River continued to win as they defeated Columbia Heights last night at Elk River 47-19. Fridley rolled over Buffalo 32-6. Irondale had no problem with Centennial winning 23-0. And it was Spring Lake Park in a squeaker. They defeated Totino Grace by a 10-6 margin. And in high school tennis, congratulations to Cheryl King and the Anoka Tornadoes girls tennis team. They defeated Coon Rapids yesterday by a score of 4-3 and thereby advanced to the 1990 State Girls Tennis Tournament. So congratulations again to the Anoka girls tennis team. Around the Lake Red, a matchup of number 2 and number 3 last night. Burnsville got a late field goal to hold off number 3 ranked Apple Valley 3-0. It was Jefferson over Osseo 20-2. John Hansen looking for his 256th career win last night to break Tom Mahoney's record. That was not to happen. This Wednesday night, Osseo will meet district rival Park Center. Hansen again looking for another win to make it 256 in 39 years at Osseo. It was Park Center last night easily over Bloomington Kennedy 49-0, and Rosemont defeated Armstrong 21-7. In the St. Paul Suburban Conference, Hastings over Woodbury. The final in that one was 37-14. Park of Cottage Grove 26, North St. Paul 25. Simley defeated Sibley over Simley. The final in that one 25-2. And Tartan, 1 touchdown better than South St. Paul. They won by a score of 14-7. And in outstate last night, it was Waban 31, Hawley 12 for all of those northern Minnesota football followers. We'll be back and talk with Dwayne Johnson, the head football coach at Anoka High School, the number 1 ranked team in the state, right after this timeout.
If you like
those 4-foot neon tubes so they can get the lights on in their brand new press box. But that was a football game that on paper looked like Anoka was going to dominate. And as we saw last night, they really did come out and dominate Roseville. Roseville has some numbers, but they don't have the gifted athletes that Anoka has.
And, you know, I think particularly that ball game last night, the Anoka defense really came up with a big play early in the game on a 4th and 1, and they stop them on just short of the, about 6 inches short of the first down. Otherwise, Roseville gets on top, and you know, as I do, you keep those emotions up, and it could be an interesting ball game.
Old Mr. Mo,
Yeah.
Mr. Momentum.
Yeah.
You get that momentum rolling, and as you say, who knows what'll happen. Well, let's. We have not had a chance to visit. The last time I think we talked, the Golden Rams were 1-1, and let's maybe pick it up from there.
Well, we have been on the road the last 2 weeks, which is why I've not been able to be here, because we've had some early trips down to Worthington, and I'm trying to think of what our last game was. Wilmer, that was at home. But we right now are 3-2 after winning last week against Wilmer. And we go in tonight to play Normandale, and if we win this ball game and then beat North Hennepin, we'll make the playoffs for the first time in history. So this game tonight against Normandale is just vital, just absolute must for us.
That game, by the way, for those of you who would like to see a good community college football game, will be at the old Bloomington Lincoln site, where that's where the football field is that Bloomington schools, both Kennedy and Jefferson, use for their home games. So if you want to get out and see a good one, it's under the lights tonight at 7:30. And last year, Anoka Ramsey, I don't know how many years it had been, 15, 16 years.
I think it'd been since 1980 was the last time that, or possibly 79, that we had beaten a Normandale team.
And so it came in 79, it came again in 89.
Yes, and most people know the story. We had a young man unfortunately declared ineligible, and it cost us the title. And but you know, I told the kids this week, that's history. You know, you never want to win a game out of revenge. That's a terrible motive to want to win anything. That they need to win this ball game for themselves, because some of these kids will never play another down of college football after this season. They either won't make it academically, or they just won't get recruited because they're maybe not quite good enough to play somewhere else. And they need to win this for themselves, because they're going to be the ones sitting at the parties and the reunions and saying, hey, remember that great title we won? Or they're going to be saying, geez, remember how close we came? And myself, I've got another team coming next year, and some of them don't. So I think it's important for our kids to focus on the fact that this is their football team. This is their opportunity. Not many people get an opportunity like this. There's already 4 or 5 teams in our league that are already out of the playoffs, and it's a chance for them to gain some notoriety for themselves.
Fred Moyer has been I believe the only football coach that Normandale has had, and has built a tremendous tradition. For those of us who are able to get out tonight and watch some college football, what can we look for from Normandale? What's the scouting report?
Well, typically on offense, they're a ground control football team. They run that wing T. They run it well. He's had his assistants with him for most of these years. They do a great job of teaching. Probably the thing that's been overlooked about Fred's teams, though, is his defense. He's always had solid defenses. They run that 52, that old Oklahoma monster. They do a great job teaching it. The kids play hard. He's maybe doesn't have the size this year that he's had in the past, but he has the athletes, and they're playing well. And we feel for us to have success against them, we're going to have to be able to run the ball. And our running attack has been kind of on again, off again. And if we can have some success running the football, we throw the ball well enough to cause them some problems. And of course, our defense has to stop that running game, or they tend to control the ball. You know, they run that fullback off tackle a couple plays, and they hit the sweep and come back, and they just kind of eat away at you. And the next thing you know, the first quarter's over, and you've had the ball once. And we've got to stop them from controlling that football.
As far as the throwing game, you mentioned you throw the ball well. A lot of teams have had a philosophy: we'll run the ball to set up the throw. And then occasionally you run into a football team, maybe a little bit like Coon Rapids, that will throw the football and then set it up with a run.
Yes, but I must tell you, this has come about out of necessity, not design. I have never been a coach that believes that you're going to win championships throwing the football. I've always believed you have to have a running game. This year we have not had the great backs, and our offensive line is quite small. You're going to see a line of whole 5'9" and 5'10" kids that are 200, 215 pounds, and we just have not been able to knock people off the football, so we've had to do a little more finesse. And, you know, we're trying to adapt a little more to a passing style, and then hopefully that'll set up that running game for us.
Mark, you and I have covered 5, 6 football games this year. Do you think that the North Suburban Conference and the Twin Cities Suburban Conference play the caliber of football that where a typical athlete can come into the community college level and contribute as a freshman, where they might go to, say, a 4-year school and have to sit around for a couple of years?
Well, there's no question about that. Matter of fact, I was talking with our admissions director the other day, and I can look on our rosters, I mean, just of students who are incoming, and see probably 10 to 15 kids who played in the North Suburban who, for some reason, decided not to play football at Anoka Ramsey. And we're hoping that we can win tonight and go into the playoffs and maybe improve our image, because we play good football and we need these kids for depth. We're sitting around 38 players, and that's every injury is vital to us because our depth gets depleted.
Well, I know that you had anticipated in August when the season opened some substantially larger number. Ideally, for you and your coaching staff, what's a nice number to work with on this level?
Well, I believe we would like to see 70 to 75 kids. And like any college football team, you lose 15 or 20 kids right off the bat because they see, you know, college football isn't for them. And that's okay. That trims us down to between 55 and 60 kids, which is what I think you need to have, be able to weather the storm on an unusual season when you might lose 4 or 5 starters due to major injuries. Right now, if we were to do that, and we have only one quarterback, and if we lose him, we're having to do one thing: run the football right now, because our backup works hard, but he doesn't have a great arm, and we're pretty much limited in what we can do with him. So that kind of depth can be devastating to you, you know, if you lose a man such as Lewis Williams, who does a great job for us.
You look at a typical community college program, and I guess you can't call the Rochesters and Normandales that atypical, but you'll find 4 quarterbacks in their scheme of things, I'm sure.
At least 2, maybe 3. I will say this: community college quarterbacks are hard to find. It seems like quarterbacks are the breed of cat and have the athletic skills that if they don't get recruited as quarterbacks someplace, somebody wants them as a defensive back, and so they tend to get recruited by the big schools, and it's hard for us to get a quarterback at this level. A lot of times we have to take a good athlete and make him a quarterback.
I think if you look at the University of Minnesota right now, they're sitting with maybe 2 or 3 former quarterbacks who are playing either linebacker in the secondary or playing wide receiver.
Yeah, and they're usually some of the smarter kids on the team, and they're usually goal-oriented kids, so they usually have kind of a game plan of where they want to go after high school mapped out, where maybe some of the other kids don't think that far ahead. So we find, I was lucky to find Lewis Williams out of Miami, Florida, who has really come in and done a great job. He's only 5'8", but he runs a 4.4 40, and he puts the kind of pressure on defenses, and yet he throws the ball well. So
is he a drop-back passer, or
no,
does he throw on the run?
He is a sprint-out passer who can throw on the run. We've had to go a little more drop-back because teams are starting to bring 2 people off the corners to keep them from getting outside. Well, that sets us up nice to be able to set up and throw a few drop-back, and we probably will begin to throw a little bit more. But he's really a true sprint-out, throw on the run, keep the ball and run the football downfield. He had about a 60-yard run on a bootleg last week, which set up a nice touchdown.
Typically in the community college game, when you find quarterbacks that are 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", and you see those monsters that make up that defensive line, you're almost forced to be either a rollout or a sprint-out quarterback, because it's difficult to see downfield, and you want to be able to clear a lane so you can throw the football to an open receiver.
That's exactly right, and that's what's happening with Lewis is we don't get the pressure up the middle because people are scared to death. You know, we blitz up the middle, he runs outside. So we're getting heat off the corners, which allows us to kind of push people to the outside, and now he's getting good throwing lanes for our drop-back passing game, which has really came alive last week and caused Wilmer a lot of problems.
Who are some of the other people that need to have a good football game for you tonight?
Oh, I think our fullbacks need to have an excellent game as they did last week. Jeff Rowe out of Anoka is injured and will only be able to hold for our kicker tonight. So basically we're playing Brian Furstenberg out of Coon Rapids will be our fullback and seeing most of the duties tonight. We think he's got to have a very good football game for us. And of course our offensive line, led by our all-conference center Tony Moe. We call him Little Tony. He's 6'2", 300. And he's really the kind of the spark plug of our offense, and we expect that they're going to have to play the best football game they've had this year. Defensively, guys like our captain, Chad McAlpine from Roseville. By the way, who guaranteed me Roseville would win last night. He must have had a bad vision.
I think he had the wrong star in the wrong galaxy.
That's right. But Chad needs to play great for us, and of course Mike Stiff, our 6', 280-pound defensive tackle from White Bear. We need to see an excellent football game out of him. Our total defense has to be sharp. They have to be on. They have to make adjustments. That wing T causes problems for you, and especially when they go to the on-balance line. And now you have a few adjustments when that on-balance line comes, and it looks great in practice, but I've played enough wing T teams that all of a sudden in the ball game, especially early, the kids start to panic, you know, and it takes them a while to get used to it. We need to adjust quickly, and we need to make sure that we don't make mental mistakes. If we make physical mistakes, there's nothing you can do about that.
Can't compensate for them, there's no question. And one of the other things that the wing T does, especially with the misdirections, the counter plays, and you start to react to the move of the guard, and pretty soon you're in the hole, and somebody's coming from the blind side to take you out of the hole, and they're coming in on an inside handoff to run a reverse, and bing, bang, they're gone.
Oh, well, and I take a look at some of the top offenses in this Twin Cities Suburban. Blaine, Anoka, they run that misdirection off the wing T, and you think you got a play stop, and next thing you know, here's a tight end just hitting you right in the ear hole, and you wonder what happened to you, and there's a guy running down the field.
Well, let's remind our viewers of tonight's game time, 7:30 tonight, and I think, is it 81st and Penn Avenue South? Is that
yes,
where the facility is? It's in that area, 81st and Penn, at the old Bloomington Lincoln High School.
That's correct.
Now a community center for the Bloomington School. So it'll be Anoka Ramsey and taking on the Normandale Lions, and should be an outstanding football game. And let's get some people from the North Suburban area out there to see that great game.
That'd be great. That'd be a lot of fun.
And we certainly wish you and the Golden Ram football team the best of luck tonight.
Well, thanks, Bruce. I appreciate it.
Okay. Joining me on the set now is Steve Lukens, the head football coach at Coon Rapids High School. Last night, the Cardinals went on the road and traveled to take on the Hill Murray Pioneers, along with Coon Rapids, one of the top 20 teams in the metro area. A defensive football game, Steve, with Hill Murray winning by virtue of an extra point.
Yeah, it was exactly the type of game we anticipated, a very physical game and a very aggressive defensive game. And we definitely played better. We had an opportunity to win the game, and like I told the kids afterwards, sometimes things just don't work out the way you want them to.
I think as the season has gone on, one of the things that has got to be pleasing to you is the way the defense has improved almost week after week as you've gone through this season. You look at Hill Murray. Hill Murray has put some points on the board this year against a lot of schools. That was not the case last night. They gave up 14 points to Stillwater, and things are really should be on a positive note going into the game Wednesday night against Anoka.
Yeah, defensively, we were just playing outstanding football, and we're playing 7 or 8 underclassmen at this time. We have a very solid senior front, and Matt Lensmeyer and Sean Smith, our 2 defensive tackles, are at this time, and I hope it continues another week, but they're continuously dominating their opposition. And those young kids in the secondary are playing great. We had 3 interceptions again yesterday, and I just really have to hand a lot of the credit to Mark O'Neill, who has just done a wonderful job at getting those kids prepared to play, and the rest of the defensive staff is really there. Their schemes are sound. They're getting the kids mentally prepared, and I really feel defensively we can compete with anyone, and I guess 4 days from now we'll find out.
Yeah, it'll certainly get a good test with the high-flying Anoka Tornadoes, but as I've said and continue to say throughout the years, that anytime you get those District 11 schools together, there's something more than a football game. They're playing for pride, you're playing for bragging rights, and oftentimes things don't shake out the way that schools think they will, and all the prognosticators a lot of times have been wrong.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping. Anoka is an outstanding team. We were just watching their videotape this morning, and they've got a lot of weapons that make it very difficult for people to stop them. And defensively, they're just playing with a lot of confidence. They don't have tremendous size defensively, but they do have good speed and some of the best defensive backs in the state, I would say. What we have to try and do, I think, against them is keep a level head. First of all, the emotion of the game is high just because of the rivalry, and secondly, it's our homecoming. And so our kids will just naturally be up just from the rivalry and the homecoming, and if we can keep them focused in on their responsibilities, I think defensively we're playing well enough to compete now. Offensively, we just have to continue to convert things. We put ourselves in a position to win yesterday at 3 different occasions, and we just came away short. We're maturing offensively. We almost doubled them in yardage. Now we just got to put points on the board if we can against Anoka.
Well, the case was early in the season where you were scoring some points and they were coming in bunches. They were coming in the 4th quarter. That changed around where you're getting off into a good start in the football game. And the last night was exactly the same situation. There were 13 points scored in the 1st quarter and 13 points scored totally in the football game.
Yeah, they came out and drove the length of the field their first drive. And we gave up a big penalty that hurt, but they did a nice job of driving the ball down. Well, they had 75 yards on that drive, and they finished with about 155. So for 3.5 quarters, we held them to 80 yards. And what else can you say about a defensive performance? And offensively, it's nice to see us come right back in the face of adversity, down 7-0, and drive the length of the field and do the same. And then from that point on, I felt, especially the second half, we completely dominated the football game. They must have had just short of 50 yards in the second half, and we had about 200.
And just couldn't put the football in the end zone or split the uprights.
Yeah, and that's the bottom line, and we keep reiterating that with the kids, is you've got to finish. And I still have to take my hat off and commend our team in general, not just the defense, but we are just getting so much better. And a loss like this is very difficult for them, and my heart goes out to them because young kids take things hard, but the nice thing about young kids also is they're resilient. They come back, and they're really fired up for Anoka.
And this is an unusual week, and it's MEA week, and both schools have Monday and Tuesday to get ready for a game on Wednesday night.
Yeah, and that's good and bad. I think with a loss such as this, it may play into our hands a little better that we are forced to forget about it and be intense in our preparation for Anoka. The bad thing is that it is Anoka, and there's so many things you have to prepare for, and we're really only going to get one solid practice in on Monday, and of course you kind of gear down a little bit on Tuesday being pregame. So we've got to get a lot done today, which I think we have, and then also on Monday.
What will you throw out as far as a typical week's practice? The things that you do Tuesday and Wednesday, or will you try and extend the practice on Monday and include some of those things?
I think that's what we're planning, is to extend a little bit, go a little longer on Monday, do a little more special teams review on Monday. Normally we do that on a normal Monday and Thursday, with Tuesday and Wednesday being pretty intense offensive and defensive practices. Well, we've got to cram most of that into one day. Then we'll come back a little more active than we usually are on our day before a game. We'll continue to polish things up on Tuesday, and then have a real hard special team session to finish Tuesday's practice.
Getting ready for, of course, Wednesday night, and you mentioned it's homecoming at Coon Rapids, and the last regular season game, and that you talk about an emotional game. There certainly will be a lot of emotion on that football field come Wednesday night.
Yeah, there's even though a lot of the guys are good friends, when the helmets go on, I don't know if there is a much bigger rivalry, and that's what makes the game fun. That we're going in, and Anoka is completely dominated almost every opponent. We've been in 6 out of our 7 games. We've had a chance to win, which is encouraging. so the kids know that we can play with anybody. And I just think it's going to be a fun game. And if I were a spectator, I think it would be a fun game to see because there's going to be a lot of flying around.
I think so too, and I think that for those who want a place to sit down, at 6:30 is not too early to plan on getting there. Otherwise, you may be standing up 2 or 3 deep around the fence that surrounds the football field.
Yeah, well, I know most of the city of Anoka will come over. They really are supporting their team well, and with the homecoming situation, of course, we'll always have our 3,000 or 4,000, I hope, like we do at homecoming. And it'd be nice to see if we can get 7,000 or 8,000 people there and watch the final game of the regular season.
Steve, I don't want to preempt the Anoka-Coon Rapids game because it is a very important game for both teams. It's an important game to go into the playoffs with a victory behind you when you go in there trying to play your best football of the season. Section 4AA at one time was 10 schools, then it became 9 schools, and this year it's now 8 schools. So we have 4 schools from the ABC. We have Anoka, Blaine, Coon Rapids, and Forest Lake. We have 2 out of the North Suburban and in Irondale at Moundsview, and then 2 out of the Lake Red in Park Center in Osseo. And I realize that right now, Anoka's got a lock on that number 1 seed, and after that, it's real interesting.
Yeah, right now, there's really a log jam from 2 to 6. We are probably 7 is the way we are looking at it with Osseo's loss last night. They're sitting at, I believe, 2 and 5, and we're 3 and 4. And so
And Osseo has to play Park Center.
And Osseo has to play Park Center. So if Osseo finishes out, and that's similar to the rivalry we have with Anoka, that you never know in that game, no matter what the records. But if we can end up in that 7th seed, then we wouldn't face Anoka back-to-back weeks, which would be good for both us and Anoka.
That happened last year.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're trying to avoid. And hopefully we'll get the 7th seed where we can face a team that we haven't seen, which it looks right now would probably be Park Center as the 2nd seed. And that would be a fun game for our kids because we scrimmage them every year, and I think it would be a good one to meet them at the beginning, come back with them at the end.
And of course, the other teams that are vying in that 2 to 5 spot are Forest Lake, Irondale, and Moundsview. And a lot of it is what's going to happen on Wednesday to decide the seeding from 1 through 8.
Exactly, and I think the way Blaine's playing right now, except for a stumbling against Forest Lake, they're playing as well as anybody on the offensive side. And if they can go on and beat Hill Murray, they'll be another contender for one of those top 4 seeds and a home field advantage too. So it is wide open right down to the end, just the way it's supposed to be.
Physically, how's your football team?
We're doing okay. We lost a running back yesterday for probably the rest of the year. We thought it was a broken femur. He really took a really odd shot to the leg, and he will be done. We did lose a fullback for the duration of the game, but he'll be back, I believe, on Wednesday. So we're hanging in there physically. We're a little thin at running back. We have 2 starters out now, so we're playing with backups at running back. But other than that, defensively, we're fine.
Should you get either of those running backs back by Wednesday, or is that premature?
The one that was hurt last night is done. Jeff Marciniak, who was hurt 2 weeks ago with a real severe ankle sprain, may be back on Tuesday's practice, and so he could go as a sub. And we're really hoping that that would be the case because we do need running backs.
Steve, we appreciate you coming down and visiting with us, your loyalty to this program, and we certainly wish the Cardinals best of luck Wednesday night as you play host to Anoka.
Thanks, Bruce.
All right. We'll be back with our next guest in this edition of Breakfast with the Coaches, and we'll do that right after these important messages.
For fresh, early morning coffee and that morning donut, come to Mr. Donut. Relax inside with friends or take out. Choose from several kinds of donuts, Bismarcks, and pastries. For large parties, call in, and your order will be ready for pickup on the next day. Mr. Donut of Coon Rapids, located at Foley and Northdale Boulevard.
The Johnsons had an open house tonight, but the guests weren't invited. Luckily, the Johnsons had the Gold Star homeowners policy from American Family Insurance. American Family will repair or replace their house. Great protection on their contents, too. Gold Star homeowners insurance, the best protection you have against uninvited guests.
American Family Insurance. Anoka office of Edina Realty has been hard at work living up to its reputation as the #1 home seller in Minnesota. And if numbers talk, listen to theirs. In the first 6 months of this year, Edina Realty was involved in 46% of all home sales in the Anoka area. That's more than twice as many as their nearest competitor. You don't earn numbers like that without providing the best possible service available. Give them a call and find out what great customer service is all about.
At Mark's Country Inn at Coon Rapids, we've got your game plan for great food 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Enjoy our breakfast buffet to start your day, or choose one of over 50 breakfast selections. Later in the day, try our new made-to-order pizza. Our Pizza Express buffet is served Monday through Friday lunch and Wednesday and Saturday night. At Mark's Country Inn, Highway 10 and Hanson Boulevard, and when shopping, don't forget our Northtown location. That's Mark's Country Inn Family Restaurants.
We're back with Blaine coach Dave Nelson. And David, just a little irony. I was talking with Dave Wettergren, who was a former deputy assistant superintendent of schools in District 11 at a farewell party for Superintendent Lou Finch before he left for Colorado. And I said to Dave Wettergren, I said, rumor has it you intend to apply for the District 11 superintendent's job now that it's vacant. He said, no, I won't do that until Stillwater wins a conference title, and lo and behold, you'll be staying over in Stillwater for a long time.
Yeah, we hope so.
Of course, that was some good-natured humor. I told him that, heck, Champlin Park may win a conference title before he's ready to move out of Stillwater as their superintendent. And you really have the Ponies' number.
Yeah, it's kind of unfolded that way. We had a great ball game last night, and it was really fun. Our backs were against the wall after not playing very well at Forest Lake, and we needed a win. And our kids had a great week of practice, and they responded really well to everything we did, and we played pretty much an error-free game, and we really feel good about it.
Let's not discount this Forest Lake football team. They're a good football team.
Yeah, they are. They really are. And against us, they, looking back, they did everything right. They converted every third down, every third and long. They had a 3rd and 16 they converted. They didn't have a turnover. I'm not sure they had a penalty. I mean, they played that error-free. And
they never play on the road.
Right.
It seems like all their games are at home.
Yeah, we should check that schedule. It seems like we're always up at Forest Lake.
I talked to Ron Scott a few years ago. He said 10 out of 11 years we play at Forest Lake. Who's doing the schedules?
Yeah.
Tom Pearson looked the other way.
But they are a good team, and when it's all said and done, they're going to end up, 6-2 probably. Yeah, looking back, they're a good football team.
So the kids really have nothing to feel badly about losing to Forest Lake because, as you said, they are a good football team. And Stillwater was ranked number 4 in the Metro. They came to your place last night, very reminiscent of 1988 when Stillwater and Blaine got together.
Right. It was, it was another beautiful night, and we had a nice crowd. And the game didn't start out real well. We kicked off, and they returned to the 50. And about 6 plays later, they scored. And we figured that we're going to really be in for a tough night. But we got a drive going, didn't convert a 4th and 2 on about their 20, and had to give up the ball, but our defense held, and that was a good sign. And we took the next possession, went in and scored. Jerry Right-Hand scored in a 5-yard run, kicked it, tied it up, and from there on, it was pretty much our game.
Right-Hand was hurt in the Anoka game, and I think that there were some games that he played that he maybe wasn't 100%. Is he now?
Yeah, he sure is. Yeah, he went through a stretch against Anoka and White Bear and Coon Rapids, those 3 weeks where he wasn't himself, but he had 170 yards rushing on 29 carries and caught a couple passes, returned a couple nice kickoffs to midfield, and he was really fun to watch, but he's 100% now, and we hope that continues throughout the rest of the year.
Aaron Smith took a few snaps at quarterback last year. Whether they were significant or insignificant at the time of the game that they happened, but he has really come on, and he's the guy that the offense starts with.
Oh, you're exactly right. He was really a question mark going into the season, and we didn't know, how how Aaron was going to do running the offense, but he's done an incredible job. And really, when you look at the success we've had, a lot of it's got to be attributed to him. He's a very good leader, and he's throwing the ball very well. I think he's second and third in passing yardage and passing, I think second in passing percentage. He's only thrown 4 interceptions, and all 3 of those, or 4 of those, were balls that could have been caught. And he's really come through and really been a big key for us.
And a young man who you found in the hallways of Blaine, well, I'll tell you, he's been spectacular.
Yeah, and it's been a real pleasant surprise. You got to have those things to be successful in our league. And he got hurt last night. He's got a hand injury. We hope he's okay, but he comes through, blocks real well, and he's picking up the game. He gets better and better every week, and we have him back next year too, which is nice.
How about the rest of the backfield?
Well, our fullback situation, we have 3 players right there that are competing. Dale Jansen, a junior, Shane Noga, a junior who started last night, and Nick Dubovich, a senior. And Nick came in at the end of the game when we had a couple injuries in the backfield, and he ran the ball real well. And Dale Jansen is a real good athlete, and he play halfback or fullback. So it gives us a good problem to have in that we have some depth, and I'm sure all 3 of those are going to see time at halfback and fullback. So we have a nice mix of 5 good backs, and 3 of them are juniors, which is a good situation to have.
That's a real plus. And Stillwater was a high-flying football team. They'd scored a lot of points. I think the week before they played Blaine, they managed to put 14 points on the board against Hill Murray. But last night, they scored the first and last touchdown of the football game, the last being somewhat innocuous at that point. But really, for most part of the football game, it was all Blaine.
Well, it was. After their first drive of 50 yards, they only had 60 the rest of the game. So our defense did a great job. They did get some yardage at the end of the game. Besides the 60 yards we gave up when our number 2 defense was on the field, they scored with 3 seconds to go in the game. We ran 67 plays, they're 32. So it kind of gives a couple good insights as to how the game went. But we're really happy. Our offense really, we had 3 drives over 11 plays long each, and that's tough to do in high school football without shooting yourself in the foot.
You bet.
So we really feel good about the way the kids played.
You look at that, that's better than 2-to-1 on offensive snaps. And it seems to me years ago, Ron Scott said that if his team snaps the football 55 times in a game, more often than not, you're going to win.
Well, that's right. We tell our kids 60. I don't know if inflation or what.
Well, probably inflation. Scotty's been out of the game a few years.
He was such a good coach. He could get by at 55. We need to do 60, but yeah, we look at 60 as a magic number. If we get 60 plays, we figure that we're controlling the ball well enough where we're in a good position to win.
Looking at your defense, not a lot of coming into the season, not a lot of household names on that defense.
Probably not any.
I looked at them, and there weren't many that that sounded familiar.
But the nice thing is next year there'll be a lot of household names. We started a sophomore and 6 juniors last night, and a sophomore and 7 juniors against Forest Lake. So we really felt last night our defense came of age. They took a challenge. We were outweighed on an average of 40 pounds a man. Our biggest players are free safety, Chad Weeks on defense. Can't say enough about them. They played really well. They only gave up 60 yards after the first touchdown, and we just hope that they can keep getting better and better now as the season goes on. But we have a nice nucleus back for next season too, with 7 players to build around, and we're hoping that they just keep getting better.
Dave, it's really no secret if you can stop Stillwater's option, you can slow down their offense pretty dramatically. The success doing that defensively is for everybody to do their job. If it's your job to round up the quarterback, or it's your job to round up the fullback or the tailback who may get a pitch, but if you start looking at trying to do somebody else's job and you get 3 people doing one person's job, that option offense will make you gray before your time.
Oh, really will. get ready for Stillwater, we spend a lot of time defensing them without a football. And they run their option, but there's no football involved, and we have players step to the dive and quarterback on the pitch. And you're exactly right. If you make a mistake, they're good enough where they're going to make it a big play. And we really felt you have to stop the dive too, and number one. Otherwise, they'll dive it all night long, and we were able to do that. And when it's 3rd and 10 and they have to throw the ball, you know, you feel pretty good about that. This year they've been having trouble throwing the football, so. That was kind of the story last night. We stopped them on a dive. They had to do a few things they don't like to do, and you know, it worked out for us.
Yeah, and it's their football tradition is that they have really kind of lived and died with the running game, and that the passing game was really incidental to the offense.
Right, and when they did pass, it was always a big play. You know, it's going to be a 60-yard touchdown pass. They're probably last in completions, but their passing yardage is always up on the top of the league because of the big play potential that they have. But right now, anyway, that's missing from their offense. But they're still a good football team, and you know, I'm sure they're going to win quite a few more games this year.
Yeah, before it's over, they go off into La La Land there in Section 2 and get into the playoffs. And I looked at Section 2 the other day and tried to remember some of the schools in there. And at my age, I've managed to just forget them. But I'll look at them again as we get closer to the second season. Things don't get much easier on Wednesday night. You get the Hill Murray Pioneers to close out the regular season.
Yeah, and you know, they're a good football team too. Coon Rapids has really been improving, and they were in a dogfight with them last night. Hill Murray was on top 7-6 at the end, but we hope we can just, you know, get a little bit better and maybe get another win under our belt and propel us into the playoffs. And you know, right now there's no easy ones left. We told our kids after Roseville that every game now is a big one, and every team's going to be good, so it's going to be fun.
Dave, how do you deal with the MEA Wednesday situation now? You lost 2 days, Thursday and Friday. I'm sure that Thursday and Friday after the Minnesota Education Association meetings, your staff will get together with the football team to practice. But what don't you do this week that you wouldn't do in a typical week, or do you extend your practices?
Well, we eliminated a few things. Today we graded the film against Stillwater, and after Hill Murray we won't have our kids watch that. That's something we'll just forget the Hill Murray game and move on to our playoff opponent right away. So that'll be a couple hours that we can cut out, and we'll just spend more time in the field walking through things than normal.
How about contact?
Well, we're not going to have any this week, and hopefully, you know, Joel Tannum broke his foot with no contact. We're just hoping that we don't get anybody hurt with no contact now, but we're going to go out Monday and probably Tuesday just with sweats and shoulder pads and try to get our kids healthy again and get ready to play.
So that it's not going to be a long, arduous, physical week leading up to Wednesday night.
No, I think at this stage of the season, you can only tell kids, you know, to block down so many times or to keep your head up when you tackle so many times. Now it's just learning assignments and fronts and so on, and fine-tuning things and keeping them fresh.
If you haven't figured out how to do it by now, you probably won't.
That's right. That's right.
What with Hill Murray, what threats do they pose similarly to some of the other teams you played this year?
Well, they got a real big fullback, and you know, Forest Lake hurt us with their fullback game, so that's a concern for us. And they've had some injury problems, but they are healthy now, and they have another Strobel, who's they're a great. I don't know if they're all related, but they sure play football like they are.
I think they're all cousins.
Okay, they're all good athletes, and we just have to make sure that we're ready to play because they got some weapons offensively and defensively. They're one of the best teams in the league. They're very big. They average, I think their front three guys are 280 pounds. So, and they're real physical. So we just want to try to, you know, really protect things up front when we're on offense and not give them a big play when we're on defense.
Yeah, last year I saw them against Coon Rapids, and I think they were about 245 up front with 2 juniors and a sophomore, those interior 3 linemen.
Yeah, and they hit the training table in the off-season. They're 280 now, so
didn't miss a meal.
No, we got our hands full.
It's a matter of execution now. Scouting, and now I certainly want to downplay the game against Hill Murray because it's very important in the seeding and so on and so forth. How do you deal with the scouting now? There's a lot of teams that need to be looked at?
Well, there's probably 3 for us right now. It depends on how things go, but Irondale might be a possible playoff opponent for us, and Park Center or Forest Lake, and we'll try to ISO in on that next week and try to really nail it down. But we'll send 2 teams out, and we've played Park Center and Forest Lake before, so that'll help us. But Irondale may be an opponent that we haven't seen yet that we have to play, so we'll definitely have someone there.
If my 9th grade mathematics works itself out, should Blaine win over Hill Murray on Wednesday night in the first round, you'll have a home game?
Well, I don't know what school you went to, but
it's iffin. I mean, it's not a for sure, but you should have a home game.
Well, we're
at
not
6-2.
Well, we're 5-3 though.
Okay.
I wish we were 6-2.
Okay, 5-3.
Yeah, so it looks like we're going to be 5 if we win, and that's with Elk River giving us some help and beating Moundsview. So
that's always a struggle when those 2 schools play too. Moundsview and Elk River, they really get on each other.
Yeah, and we're hoping Elk River can help us out a little bit, but I think the best we can do right now is 5.
And so right now the odds are not good of a home field unless something real mysterious happens.
I don't even know if that's going to help us at this point. So we're looking at going on the road, which is fine. You got to play the people anyway and see what happens.
Well, David, congratulations to you and the Blaine Bengals and your coaching staff with a big win last night over a good Stillwater football team, the 4th ranked in the metro area. Again, that final score last night in favor of Blaine, 35-14. We wish you well Wednesday when you travel to Hill Murray.
Meet. And tonight, Stillwater head coach George Thole goes for victory number 200. The Ponies come in at 5-1. Their only loss to the Anoka Tornadoes. Brian Kokendorfer is the main thrust of the Ponies' offense. Defensively, Glenn Harris has been outstanding in the secondary. He broke the Stillwater record for interceptions earlier this year. Blaine comes in at 3-3, but all 3 losses have been to ranked teams like Anoka, Park Center, and Forest Lake. Their main offensive threat is Jerry Rytan, the leading scorer in the Twin Cities Suburban Conference. He scored on kickoff and punt returns, passes, and runs, and he'll be tough to contain for the Pony defense. A Twin Cities Suburban Conference Classic at Bengal Stadium coming up. Stillwater and Blaine next on This Week in Sports. Signals. First man through is Canary, and Canary's got himself some room in the secondary. One man to get away, and he's gone. 20, 10, 5, touchdown to the Blaine Bengals. There is Brett Johnson. Johnson streaking down the sideline. He's got a return going. Cuts back inside. And he makes the pylon. Touchdown, Anoka Tornadoes. No flag.
18-yard line. In motion is Sander. Townsend, fade pattern. Underthrown, but it's going to be a touchdown.
Fisher again.
Hi everybody, Andy Bowe along with Steve Glenn at Blaine High School in Blaine. Tonight the Bengals from Blaine host the Stillwater Ponies in Twin Cities Suburban Conference football action. For Blaine, they're 3-3, 15th rank in the Metro. And for Stillwater, a big game tonight for their coach, George Thole.
Well, George Thole going for number 200 tonight in a career that spanned about 17 years. So that's quite a big milestone for him, and I'm sure the Ponies would love to get it here tonight against a tough Twin Cities Suburban Conference opponent in Blaine. Stillwater is, as you mentioned, 4-1, 5-1 overall. The one loss coming to the Anoka Tornadoes that we saw here on KBL about 4 weeks ago now. And Anoka is number 1 in the Metro, so if you got to lose to a team, obviously that's you don't have to feel bad about losing to a team like Anoka. Stillwater has for years and years relied on the run, and that's what they're doing again this year. They've got all-conference runner Brian Kokendorfer coming back for him. He's gained a lot of yards, but where they're kind of lacking offensively is through the air. Last week they won again, but didn't gain a single yard through the air. Brad Orn, more of a running option type quarterback, likes to run the ball, likes to pitch it to Kokendorfer, so I'm sure we're going to see a lot of that tonight. Defensively, Stillwater has always been great, always has some quality athletes. Eric St. Martin is an all-conference linebacker coming back for him. Glenn Harris in the defensive backfield is also an excellent defender. I don't think we're going to see a lot of passing from Blaine tonight. If we do, Stillwater's got the guys back there that can intercept it. I think what they've got to really look out for is Jerry Rytan, who's a all-stater coming back, gained a lot of yards last year, scored a lot of touchdowns, so they're going to have their work cut out for him. Earlier in the week, Charlie had a chance to talk with Stillwater's coach, George Thole, and was asking him about the rivalry between these two schools, and though it's been a short rivalry, George Thole really treats it with a lot of respect.
I think we both have comparable programs, and we've had four really outstanding football games. Unfortunately, Blaine has won 3 of the 4, but it has been a good, it's really been a good series, good, clean rivalry. I don't know, rivalry. I think it's just probably a lot of mutual respect for each other's programs, I think.
This season for you, the one loss to Anoka. After that, it's been a pretty good season for you. I think particularly, in fact, that the last game you played was penalty-free.
Yeah, that was a pleasant surprise, and but we didn't. We're still not doing a great deal offensively, but we hope to get something going here, before the season's over. But I guess I'm pleased. We've had a lot of injuries, but I guess I'm pleased the way that our players have hung in there together, and they haven't let things get them down, which is I thought might. I wasn't sure with this team, but they've shown me a lot of character, and I guess I'm real pleased with that.
Looking ahead, as far as the end of the season is concerned, the region is a lot tougher this year than it has been in years past. You've got Park of Cottage Grove to worry about, Tartan, and the Hastings Raiders, too.
But that's the case every year. Last year it was Henry Sibley was the under. I mean, and the year before, a couple of years ago, it was Park. They were ranked number 2 in the state or whatever it is. Then there's nothing different this year about the region. I mean, if they're all playing each other, you're going to have 2 or 3 teams with good records. I mean, it remains to be seen how good they really are.
The great Stillwater coach, George Thole. For Blaine, strengths, weaknesses, their strengths has to be their winning tradition, 1988 state champions. Weaknesses, youth. They've done well, 3-3 despite the youth, and Dave Nelson had a chance to speak with Charlie and says he's pretty pleased about his performance this year.
You work with 7 to 8 juniors, actually a sophomore and 7 juniors on defense, and offense at times we'll have a sophomore and 5 juniors going with kids alternating at certain times, so we're young. But by this time of the season, we told the kids the other day, you're not juniors anymore, you're seniors. They've played 6 games, and they can't play like juniors anymore. So we hope that at the end of the year here we'll show that progress.
There's a tendency to look at the statistics and say Jerry Rytan's your whole offense, but that's not really the case, is it?
Well, not really. He's a big part of it. Don't get us wrong. He's so explosive, he can score anytime he touches the ball. But we've got quite a find this year in Brad Hannon, who came out of the woodwork, and he scored 5 touchdowns, and he's really been a workhorse offensively at a running back. And Aaron Smith, our quarterback's had a great year. I think he's second in the league in passing percentage, and second or third in yards thrown, and I think he might be leading in touchdown passes, or he's awful close to the lead. And
when you look at the Stillwater-Blaine rivalry in the last couple of years, it's been an intense one, and tonight will certainly be no exception. George Thole's going for number 200.
Right, we hope he gets it, but not against us. We hope it's next week. We have developed a great rivalry with him, and it's a neat rivalry because the games are always great. They're always clean, and they're always hard-hitting, but I think it's been formed out of a lot of respect for each other, and they got a great football tradition, and we look forward to playing them because it's going to be a classy game. And just over the last few years, every game's been great. I think every game's been decided by a touchdown many times in the last minute, and we just hope we can play well, and we're pulling for George, but not this week.
And that's our pregame show here on This Week in Sports. Coming up next, the 1988 state champion Blaine Bengals and the 1989 state runner-up Stillwater Ponies. Should be a good one. We'll have the starting lineups and the kickoff for you right after this. Hi everybody, Andy Bowe along with Steve Glenn from Blaine High School in Blaine, Minnesota. Tonight, the Bengals and the Ponies. Blaine 3-3, 15th in the Metro. They're scraping to get above 500 and capture a region playoff berth. Stillwater, they're peaking at the right time after an early season loss to Anoka. They're 5-1, 5th overall in the Metro. Battle of the running teams. Blaine led by Jerry Wrightan, number 21. So far, 84 points rather. Leading scorer in the Twin Cities Suburban. He'll be for sure an all-conference and probably an all-stater. Blaine, looks like they've got their uniform situation straightened out. They've got some dark blue tops now instead of those light blue to go along with their dark blue pants. Let's go through the starting lineups while they're being introduced. For Blaine at quarterback, number 11, Aaron Smith. He's a good one, third leading passer in the Twin Cities Suburban. Running backs are 21, Jerry Wrightan, and 39, Brad Hannon. His receivers, the tight end, number 18, AJ Katsekis. Number 22, the split end, is Chad Weeks, and the other split end, they'll alternate, Chad Strand and Kyle Marty, number 81. The offensive line, 61, the left tackle, Joe Procopio. Left guard, 53, Todd Schwartz. The center will be number 57, Brett Swanson. Right guard, number 21, Nate Huffer. And the tackle on the right side, number 70, Chad Steinke. For Stillwater on offense, option team, they're led by their quarterback, number 7, Brad Orn. They got a good running attack, and it's led by number 28, Brian Kokendorfer. And they rotate numerous running backs in. Their other starter will be number 32, Mike Enke. Receivers, they'll rotate a lot of them in too. Number 7, Brad Jackson gets the start along with number 81, Tony Polzine. The tight end is number 89, Jared Darrington. Offensive line for Stillwater, from left to right, tackle Sean Flaherty, number 71, number 76, Mark Holm. Number 78, Andy Mazurak is the center. Right guard is Hans Hummel, number 74, and the right tackle, Dave Olson, number 75. Blaine won the toss and elected to kick off to the Stillwater Ponies, so Blaine will get the ball to start the second half. And on defense for Blaine, to start the game at defensive end on the left side, number 83, Nate Downing. Defensive tackle, 88, Chris Morano. They're being introduced right now. Nose guard, 54, Jesse Sikulski. They play a 5-2-4 defense. Right defensive tackle, 89, Blake Nelson, and 55 is right defensive end, Donnie Bross. Two linebackers, Jason Lockinen and John Hillman, numbers 50 and 56. And their secondary, John Frank, number 12, at one corner. Number 17, Steve Shapolsky is the right corner. And the free safety, Chad Weeks, 22. And the strong safety, 34, Steve Arsdorf. Stillwater on defense, and it's a good one. They play a 4-3. Two defensive ends, left side, 65, Butch Weiss, and on the right side, 79, Warren Bostrom. And the two defensive tackles, 54 and 55, Eric Atkins and Jim McDonald. Linebackers from left to right, Jeff Mears, Steve Walters, and the all-conference linebacker of a year ago, Eric St. Martin, number 99. He's a good one. And their secondary, 14, Don Harvo in the left corner, Eli Hill, and number 8 in the right corner. And their safeties, Glenn Harris, number 33, who will also get a number of carries as a running back, and 29, Len Franklin. And Steve, battle of running teams, what do you look for tonight?
Well, you'd have to expect Stillwater to come out with that option, as I mentioned in the pregame. Didn't gain a yard passing last week, but still they don't have any problem winning. And even though the teams know what George Stoll's running attack is going to look like, they always have trouble stopping it. And Blaine, they just simply have to get that small offensive line of theirs to open up some holes for Jerry Wrightan to squirt through.
Stillwater a couple of weeks ago played Coon Rapids. They beat the Cardinals, opened the game with 3 straight passes. Two of them were, well, one of them, the first pass from Orrin was intercepted. The second one was dropped for a sure interception. Third pass incomplete, and they didn't pass the rest of the game. And last week they didn't pass at all, as Steve mentioned. And Blaine's ready to kick off, 34. Steve Arsdorf will do the kicking. Blaine coached by Dave Nelson, brother of former New England Patriot linebacker Steve Nelson. And Stillwater's coach, of course, George Thole, looking for his 200th victory tonight. Full house, as you can imagine, for this big game. Stillwater 5-1, 4-1 in the conference, and Blaine 3-3 overall, 3-2 in the conference. Huge game, and we're about ready to get underway with Arsdorf kicking off. Kokendorfer deep, along with 32, Mike Enke. They put their prime timers back to return kicks. Kokendorfer returned one 96 yards for a touchdown against Forest Lake, and we're underway. Heading to Kokendorfer, and he grabs it at his 10-yard line. Up the right side with some room. Kokendorfer across the 30, all the way out to midfield before being brought down by, looked like the kicker of Blaine, Arsdorf. So Stillwater starts at the 48-yard line of Blaine.
Ball placed just past midfield, but excellent starting field position for Stillwater to start out with their first offensive series.
Quarterback Brad Orn leads the Stillwater offense. Kokendorfer and Krennick, well, Damian Krennick Peterson will come in to spell Kokendorfer late in the game, but Enke gets the start.
I forgot to get the tee off the field there.
And Orn under center for the first play of the game at midfield. Stillwater, excellent field position. Two wide receivers to the left. Give up the middle to Enke. Enke fighting, and he got 6 yards.
Nothing fancy from Stillwater starting out, just a straight dive play up the middle. Got to get those offensive linemen warmed up, and they're just huge. And Stillwater's got a big advantage over Blaine in that area. Blaine's going to have to use some quickness and some stunting, I think, and their linebackers and defensive backs will be making a lot of tackles tonight.
2nd down and 4. Good down for Stillwater to try something fancy, but I doubt they will. Kokendorfer and Enke still the setbacks. Now flags down. Looks like they took too much time.
No, I think what you're going to see is Blaine lined up in the neutral zone. Number 83 there, their defensive end, Nate Downing.
Boy, that's a...
Unlike years past, it used to be the defensive team had a chance to get back on their side of the ball, but now with the new rules, if you even line up in the neutral zone, it's whistled before the play ever starts.
That'll be a 1st down for Stillwater, and that's inexcusable for Dave Nelson. He prides his teams on...
Well, what you can't understand is how can you line up off sides? All you got to do is look down the line of scrimmage and see the ball. Not too difficult.
39-yard line of Blaine come the Ponies. 1st and 10. Now the right side hosts the two wide receivers. Orn will just keep it up the middle. He's got about 5 yards for Brad Orn.
And usually on a play like that, what you'll see is that's just an audible between the quarterback and the center. If he comes up to the line of scrimmage and sees that there's a huge gap between the two defensive tackles or guards, he'll just pat the center on the rear end and then just take the ball right away. Nobody else knows what's going on, and he just takes it right up the middle.
Orn, not a big guy. He's a senior, 165. And 5'9". Wide receiver to the right. Split backfield for Orn. Up the middle again. That's 25, I believe. That's Kokendorfer, I believe. No, it's 28. Yeah, 28's Kokendorfer, excuse me. First carry for Brian Kokendorfer, and he gains about 2 yards.
Stillwater offensive lineman opening up some huge holes there so far. Everything's been right up the middle.
Expect Kokendorfer to get a lot more carries as the game wears on. Usually they like to give it to him later in the game. Nevertheless, 3rd down and about 2 yards to go, and Orn right up the middle again. Looks like he's got the 1st down by about 2 yards.
You see, that's just strictly up to the quarterback. If he sees it, certainly no reason not to take advantage of it.
Not very conventional from the offensive standpoint, but whatever works, take it. When you get a 1st down and 3rd and 2, you're looking all right. Dave Nelson, head coach of Blaine, state champions in 1988. He's done well with a young team. Excellent coach. 28-yard line come the Ponies now. Wide receiver split left and right. Orn gives up the middle to Kokendorfer, and he's got good yardage again. Almost to the 20-yard line of Blaine, a gain of 6 yards.
Certainly no reason to take it outside when you're moving the ball so well inside the tackles.
Heading right up the Blaine gut. Linebackers for Blaine. 50 Jason Lockinen and 56 John Hillman getting a lot of work out so far.
There you see on the replay, nothing fancy, just a straight dive right off between guard and tackle. Orn having the tough time trying to step into Jeff Zignago's shoes. Doing a wonderful job this year so far.
Kokendorfer again, cross the 15, and he'll score. Stillwater right down the field, and Kokendorfer scores from 21 yards out. giving Stillwater the early 6-0 lead.
Looked to be the exact same play. Here we're going to take a look at it again. Just simple, straight off tackle play. Nothing fancy about it. Broke one tackle at the line, one in the defensive backfield, and went down the right sideline for the touchdown.
Left corner for Blaine, John Frank. Looks like he got caught. Pinching in too far. Kokendorfer bounced outside him. Score. And here's the PAT. And it's good. Bill Dollar, the kicker, number 9 for Stillwater. 7-0, Stillwater on top. We'll take a break and be back after this. No break. Holy cow, our commercial salesman must have missed a deadline.
Let's take another look at that touchdown run by Kokendorfer there. Got a good angle here from up top. You're just going to see simple, straight dive play between guard and tackle. Broke a couple of tackles. Just used his speed to out-sprint everybody else. Boy, if you can just run through a team like that, you're not going to have a lot of problems here.
Well, Stillwater really not a quick starting team all the time. Usually takes them a while to get everything going. It usually takes them a full season to peak, which is very good for a football team. They were only 6-3 last year, and they ended up in the Prep Bowl final. Blaine returning this kickoff all the way out to 44-yard line.
Last man got a hand on him. Dale Jansen nearly broke it.
Dale Jansen, number 32, gives Blaine good field position. There's their offensive line, as I mentioned earlier. Not quite as big as Stillwater's.
Casteris, Weeks, Strand, and Marty.
Give to Wrighton. Up the middle, and he gets a first down. He almost broke it all the way. Jerry Wrighton. All the way to Stillwater's 44-yard line. So right off the bat, gain of 12 yards for Jerry Wrighton.
That's the one advantage of having a player like Wrighton in your backfield. You can score from anywhere on the field, and you're really not going to be out of any game. There's the offensive backfield: Aaron Smith, Jerry Wrighton, Brad Hannon, Dale Jansen, and Nick Dubovich.
Man in motion right, or to the left is Hannon. Up the middle to 39, Hannon.
Picked up about 4 yards.
Rather 36, excuse me, Shane Noga. Hannon was in motion. Hannon listed as the starting running back.
And there's
played
the
a wing back in that formation.
Stillwater defense. Butch Weiss, Eric Atkins, Jim McDonald, Warren Bostrom up front. Mears, Walters, and Martin are the linebackers. Harvo, Hill, Harrison, Franklin are the defensive backs.
Gain of 5, 2nd and 5. Here's right. Look at him go. Breaks one tackle, now another one. All the way down to the 25-yard line. First down.
Had a counter play going there. Wrighton vaulted over the defensive line and showed us some fancy footwork there in the backfield.
27 yards, 2 carries.
Going to take a look at it. Little counter left. Jumped over a couple guys there and ran laterally and picked up an extra 4 or 5 yards doing it.
Split backfield, wide receiver right. Sweep to the left. And a gain of about 5 yards by Brad Hannon. First carry of the game for Hannon. Give him 4 yards.
Here you see him taking off to the outside. Boy, these players for both teams breaking a lot of tackles. I don't think we're going to want for action here this evening.
Aaron Smith on the quarterback, gives to Wrighton again. Not a very good game this time. About 3 yards though for Jerry Wrighton. And bring up about a 3rd and 3.
Amazing thing about Wrighton is teams are got to be keying on him because he's had such a fantastic couple of years, but yet he's still getting his yards. One of the Blaine cheerleaders.
3rd down and about 4. Wide receiver left, split backfield for Aaron Smith. Hannon right wing back. 3rd down and 4. Give it to Wrighton. Nothing surprising about that. This time, he's wrapped up as he crosses the 20-yard line, and it'll bring up a 4th and 2.
I think you got to go for it from here.
65, Butch Weiss, and number 54, Eric Atkins.
Stillwater's sideline from end to end, from the 30 to the 30, jam-packed with Pony players anxious to play. They have the full 99 complement of numbers in their uniforms.
You saw right 10 kind of bottled up that time.
They're going for it. Here's right 10 up the middle. It'll be close. I don't think he got it either.
That play kind of surprised me. Got to give right hand a chance to get outside where he can use his speed.
They held, and it'll be first down for Stillwater at their own 18-yard line. So nevertheless, Blaine gives Stillwater poor field position. Well, not all that poor. Took a chance early in the game, but there's a long way to go. 5 minutes to go in this first quarter. Here comes Stillwater. Brad Orn under center, split backfield as usual, and it's wide receiver left and right. Wide receivers don't get the ball too often. Up the middle to Kokendorfer. Give him about 3 yards.
Stillwater, I'm sure, would love to take that momentum. Do something with it. Blaine, for their part, have got to hold. Too many first downs, and Stillwater is going to be in decent field position, and Blaine will be in just that much more field position, even if they do force punt.
Second down and about 7 on that gain of 3 by Brian Kokendorfer. Same formation. One under center. Give up the middle to Kokendorfer. Breaks a tackle, crosses the 30-yard line. He has a first down for Stillwater. Gain of 10 for Brian Kokendorfer.
There you see 3 TDs in his last 2 games. Preferring to run over the right side of that offensive line. Here we're going to take another look at it. Again, just that straight off tackle play. It's been working so well for him tonight.
Now 2 wide receivers to the right. Kokendorfer and Enke in the backfield. Brad Orn. Gives it a little up the middle again to Enke. And Blaine stuffs it this time. Second and 10, first stuff by the Blaine defense so far. Kokendorfer, 5 carries, leads the Stillwater Ponies in this first quarter. 42 yards. Brad Jackson to the right is the wide receiver. Enke and Kokendorfer still in the backfield. Option left, and the same play up the middle is Enke, and he got stuffed again. Rather, that was Kokendorfer.
Yeah, Blaine's defense starting to come alive down there.
No, Stillwater
the
just
tackles.
Tapping the well, seeing how many times they can go to the same play, as long as they're getting good yardage on it.
Really missed Mike Mooney. 3-year starter for Blaine's defense. All-stater last year.
Chad Nelson to the right, along with Chad Fredkov. Rather, Joe Flock for Stillwater. Option left, fake. Orn keeps it, now he fumbles. And Stillwater's got it, close to a first down.
Boy, Stillwater really caught a break there.
Boy, Kokendorfer ends up with a gain of about 6 yards on that play, and he didn't really earn it. He just fell on the ball. 4th down and a close one.
Let's take a look at it again there. He's going for the option, was hit. Couldn't quite grasp the ball, fumbled it forward about 3 or 4 yards. Now Stillwater's going to go for it on 4th and 1.
4th and 1, they're going to go for it. Will the Stillwater Ponies? They're at the 41-yard line in their own territory. They pack it all into the left side for this big play. Early in this game, they lead 7-0 over Blaine. Orn's going to go up the middle with it.
I don't think he got it.
Blaine seems to think they've stuffed him. Only a minute and a half to go in this first quarter. And what a big play that will be.
Boy, it's all going to depend on the spot, but I don't think he made it. Stillwater thinks he did, though. Tough to tell from this angle.
Wow, it's going to be close. George Thole gambling, going for his 200th win tonight. Obviously confident in his offensive line.
Nope, he didn't
and
get
he
it.
didn't get it. Wow, what a play. I'm a bit surprised at going for it on 4th down.
Well, actually, I'm not surprised that they went for it because they've just been breaking off huge chunks of yardage between the tackles. But that series of downs, Blaine's defense had shown a little bit more resilience. So it's a calculated risk by George Thole, but he's got the lead, so let's just see now if Blaine can reverse that momentum and take it in for a score.
Smith, he rolls left. First pass of the game for either team. Going deep and overthrows the intended receiver, number 81, Kyle Marty.
Nice coverage back there by Glenn Harris. All-conference selection last year, 2-year letter winner.
Or you can line, those are your two options. That or that, and I'm communicating on that throughout the game with you. That's only up to you on the slide.
Glenn Harris recently broke the Stillwater School record for interceptions.
2nd down and 10. Give to Right-Tan, the sweep right. He's got 5, now about 10. Jerry Right-Tan, only 5'8", 160 pounds. He's built a little bit by Barry Sanders and tough to bring down. Gain of 9 on the play for Right-Tan.
There you see the Twin Cities Suburban Conference rushing leaders. Rudnick for Anoka, run for Roseville. There you see Kokendorfer and Right-Tan all in the top 5.
Give to Right-Tan. Now, the give must have been up the middle. Faked everybody out. Shane Noga, number 36, and it'll be very close. They'll bring out the chains on this 4th down.
Boy,
Well, what seems to be a 4th down.
I don't know. I think he's going to be a little short. But
32-yard line. And he is. Good yard short. Now, let's see what Dave Nelson does for Blaine.
now you got to go for it. Too far for a field goal, way too close to punt. Got a key on Right-Tan.
You bet you do. Chad Strand out to the left. Hannon the wing back right. Right-Tan left wing back, and a sneak up the middle. They got the first down.
That's the way to do. What happens there is the quarterback just comes up, and while the defense is trying to settle in, just first contact with the center, he snaps it, and the two of them just go straight up the middle.
Gain of 3 for Aaron Smith on his first carry of the game. Boy, Right-Tan lined up as the left wing back on that play. Almost a dead giveaway that he wasn't going to get the ball, but now he lines up on the left wing back again. 1st and 10 from the 28. And he gets the ball on the right sweep. Gets about 3 yards.
Well, Right-Tan lines up like that. He's trying to draw the defense away from the center of the field so that a play like the quarterback sneak has a chance of working.
That's going to be it for the first quarter. Stillwater, 7-0 leaders over Blaine. Early touchdown by Brian Kokendorfer. They marched 50 yards down the field and only took them a good couple minutes. They went very quickly. We'll take a break for the Bengals at the Stillwater 20-yard line. They trail 7-0, but are threatening right now at this start of the second quarter. I'm Andy Bowe along with Steve Glynn. Blaine Bengals defending, or 88 state champions. Stillwater, the defending state runners-up. Aaron Smith, hands to Hannon. Left sweep, across the 10, easily has the first down. Across the 15, rather, he's down to about the 11-yard line.
Here's where I think a little play-action pass might work. Fake to Right-Tan. Everybody's got to be keen on him down here and maybe hit the tight end coming on over the middle.
1st and 10 for Blaine. Strand to the right. Hand off to Hannon. Same play. Hannon can't quite get to the 5-yard line. Brought down to about at the, looks like the 8-yard line. Gain of about 3 for Hannon. 4 carries so far, 20 yards for Brad Hannon. Only a junior, 5'10", 170 pounds.
And they spot the ball right at the 10-yard line.
2nd and 7 for Blaine. Now Marty to the right side. Smith up the middle. Noga to the 5-yard line. 507 or 5'7", 150 pounds for Noga. He's also a junior.
Again, you're in 2-down territory. Although early in the game, they may go for 3 if this doesn't work.
3rd and 3 for Aaron Smith. Marty to the left, or to the right rather. Here's right 10, all sorts of room, and he'll score.
Boy, nothing fancy about that. Just give the ball to right hand, send him outside where he can use his speed.
Jerry Right-Hand just scored his 15th touchdown of the year. Not a very, very big guy. He's the leading scorer in the Metro now with 90 points.
There you saw in the replay, nothing real artistic about it. Just give it to the quick guy and let him go.
Blaine's going to call a timeout, debating whether they should go for 1 or 2. Not sure. In the warm-ups, number 50, Laukkanen, was taking some kicks. Now on the sideline, Arsdorf's warming up his leg. As you look at George Thole. 199 career victories for the Ponies. Been to the Prep Bowl a handful of times. State champs in '84.
Let's take another look.
Last year to Burnsville.
Take another look at the touchdown. Nobody even really close to him.
Too fast for the left linebacker for Stillwater. Jeff Mears. And it looks like they'll take the kick.
That's Jason Laukkanen, I believe that is, number 50.
Aaron Smith, number 11, looks like he'll be the holder to this extra point. The tee's out in the field. And now they're going for their extra point, trailing 7-6 with 10 minutes to go in the second quarter. It is Laukkanen. And it's good. 7 up now. Blaine and Stillwater. We knew it would be a good game, and we knew how it would be a good game. A lot of rushing. There's been 1 pass in the game so far by Smith, and it was incomplete. Arsdorf will do the kicking off for Blaine now as you look at Ben Mackey. Deep for Stillwater again, Kokendorfer and Enke. Glenn Harris is one of the upmen along with Jeff Mears. So good hands for Stillwater all around their return unit. As Arsdorf gets set to kick off, 7-7 we are, with 10 minutes to go in the second quarter. Kokendorfer at the 11. Hands off to Harris, he fumbles! And Blaine recovers on their own 18-yard line.
Stillwater tried to get a little bit tricky there, going for the reverse.
Stillwater's 18-yard line, of course, I meant. And Blaine sends her offense back onto the field. Dale Jansen happy on the sideline.
It appeared that the man handing the ball off never really got it to him. Hit his hip.
That's why Harris was out there on the return unit with good hands. Ready for the reverse.
Oh, Blaine's going to have to call a timeout now. There's somebody that's supposed to be out there that isn't.
In all the excitement, they take their second timeout. Only 1 left now. There's still a good 10 minutes to go.
Boy, you hate to burn a timeout like that when you don't need to.
Well, they take a timeout on an extra point. Now, in their excitement, take another one. Jansen, 32, was so happy about being in on that fumble recovery. I'm not sure if he recovered it, but he was pretty happy about it. He jumped on everybody on the sideline, forgot he was on the offense. Prep Sports Weekly, Charlie Stellick hosts it. All the highlights from the week in sports, and a little bit more than that even. Monday nights at 7. It's a live show on KBL. Hope you pay a look sometime. Hope you enjoy the coverage we provide of some pretty fine high school action on KBL. With Steve Glenn, I'm Andy Bowe. 7-7 Blaine and Stillwater. 5th ranked Ponies in the Metro against the 15th ranked Blaine Bengals. 1st and 10 for Aaron Smith and Blaine. Right hand, same play he scored his touchdown on, and he's bopped after about a gain of, or loss of 1.
Stillwater did a nice job stringing that out. We're going to let right hand get outside. It's the job of the defensive end there to try and come out as far as he can to make right hand turn it up back into the defensive backfield, as you saw it happen right there, and right hand was stopped for about a 1-yard loss.
Right hand, wing back left. Fake to Noga. Looking for right hand. He's got it, but he won't get much yardage out of it. Maybe a gain of 5. So Aaron Smith completes his second pass. Into the 15-yard line. 3rd down and 6 for Blaine. Not a very good throw by Smith.
No, a little low. Right hand had to kind of stop and come back for it.
3rd and 6 for Blaine.
It's kind of ball too. You got to put a little bit more zip on so that he has more time to do something with it.
Jansen in motion, give to right hand. Almost to the 10-yard line, so he'll be short of the first down by a good yard. And it's going to be 4th and 1.
They're going to go for it.
Not much confidence in their kicker, Laukkanen. Laukkanen, 5'10", 195-pound linebacker. So they come up 4th and 1. Second time going for it in the game. And it's a long one. Almost 2. Not a surprise. It's right hand. Cuts back.
Got it.
And he's got the first down. Across the 10-yard line to about the 8, and he only needed the 9. First down, Blaine.
Let's take a look at it. Same play that he scored the touchdown on. Just goes out, reads the defense, finds a seam to cut up, and makes the necessary yardage.
7:50 to go. Up the middle is right 10. Across the 5 to about the 4 on 1st and goal. That was right hand's 12th carry of the game.
Stillwater's going to call timeout. Want to talk about that goal line defense? We get a look at a couple of the Blaine players.
In those 12 carries, 63 yards for right hand and a touchdown. His 15th of the year. Not bad for 7 games. Dave Nelson out talking to Aaron Smith as you see the Stillwater sideline. Quite a few young men out there. Stillwater football is something serious out there by the river.
Year after year, George Thole puts out a quality product. We've said time and time again, these kids start learning this system in about the 7th grade. So that by the time they get to the high school level, they've got the basics down of the offensive and defensive schemes. It's just a matter of execution and fundamentals, and George Thole and his staff teach that about as well as anybody, which is why we see them in postseason play year after year after year.
Here comes Blaine, 2nd and goal from the Stillwater 5-yard line. Wide right is Chad Strand. Give up the middle to about the 1-yard line is Noga. So it's going to bring up 3rd down. He's to the 2 apparently. 3rd and goal from the 2.
You see all the Blaine cheerleaders with a couple of their little lucky mascots that they keep down there in the side of the field. I wish I knew what they were. Some sort of strange little creatures.
Right hand to the left in the split backfield. Look for him to get the ball, and he does get it. Same play he scored the touchdown on, but he's hit hard. First man there was St. Martin, and then Jeff Mears finished him off. 4th and goal now. Right hand lost a yard on the play.
They're going to go for it. There you saw Right-Hand had 3 guys keying on him. He wasn't going anywhere. I'm a little bit surprised here that Dave Nelson's not going for the 3 points. Wouldn't be much longer than an extra point.
4th down and goal, 4 yards to go.
Almost got to put the ball up in the air here.
Wishbone backfield now. Smith rolling left. Man wide open. Touchdown. A.J. Katsaris, number 18, on the wishbone formation. Play action. Came from the right side and scored, and Blaine leads it by a touchdown, 13-7.
Smith had the option there. Play fake into the line. He was going to roll on the naked bootleg left, and it's up to them to read the defense. If they want to come up at him, he'll just toss the ball into the end zone. If they lay back, he'll try and run it in. Obviously made the right decision and floated up a nice little pass there that was pretty easily catchable. Nobody really near the receiver at all. And well executed play, and now Blaine has got to burn their 3rd time out. Boy, that'll chafe a coach in a big hurry.
Blaine looking for the upset on their home field against Stillwater. 6:24 to go in this first half. Here's the replay.
There you saw rolling left, floated it into the end zone. Beautifully executed play.
Katsaris caught the ball right in his gut. So often when I see a play like that, I just think, don't drop it. Cowboy tight end that dropped it in the Super Bowl in the same type of play. The ball's floating in the air, and you look up in the lights and you see the black sky, and you hope the young man is concentrating on the ball and doesn't feel like he's in heaven. Not thinking too much, just catch the ball. Laukkanen on for the extra point. Smith the hole.
Looks like somebody got a piece of it. Still went through. So Blaine takes a 7-point lead. Signaled there by referee Keith Olson, and the other men in stripes helming up tonight are umpire Joe Clay, linesman Mick Saul, and field judge Ron Rischel.
14-7 Blaine, the 1988 state champions. Fine winning tradition under coach Dave Nelson. In Stillwater, you know all about their tradition. George Tholes going for his 200th win tonight as head coach of Stillwater. 2 first-class organizations. Still a long way to go with 6:24 in the half. Arsdorf to kick. And Kokendorfer and Enke deep for Stillwater. It'll be Kokendorfer at the 15.
You can bet it's not going to be anything fancy here. He covers that ball with both hands.
Out to the 29-yard line. If you're just joining in, Blaine scored a touchdown to tie it at 7 on our Jerry Right-Hand 5-yard run. On the next, the kickoff following that touchdown, Kokendorfer ran it to the same point in the field. And right about there, he tried to reverse it to Glenn Harris, and Harris fumbled the ball, and Blaine recovered it on Stillwater's 18-yard line and just scored. 14-7 Blaine. Now Brad Orn leads the Ponies up to the line of scrimmage. Orn trips and falls after faking it up the middle. He'll lose 2 yards.
Stillwater hasn't looked good their last 2-3 plays on offense. They need to get something going here.
They marched 50 yards on their opening drive of the game and scored on a Brian Kokendorfer 21-yard run to take the 7-0 lead. Please give us a call and let us know what you think of the games. 426-9882. There's an answering machine there at all hours of the day and night. We'd really appreciate your comments. 2nd down, 11 for Stillwater. At their 28-yard line. Split backfield, wide receiver left. Darrington, the tight end, on the left this side. Up the middle, Kokendorfer, and he's only got 3 yards. 3rd down and long for the Ponies. Both teams get into the huddle, get their play, and get to the line of scrimmage in a hurry.
Blaine's fired up now. They've got the last 2 touchdowns. Defense is playing well. Obviously, their offense is moving the ball. Not letting their lack of size affect them at all.
They got the confidence after Stillwater went for it on 4th down at their own 41-yard line in the first quarter, and Blaine held. 3rd down and 8 for Stillwater. Orm, option right. He's keeping it, and he won't get more than 3 yards.
That's going to be 4th and 4 or 5. Stillwater's got to punt the ball away now.
And they will, so Blaine fired up and playing well. Right-hand will be the deep man on the return for Blaine, along with Arsdorf.
There you see on the replay, Orn just tried to keep it, turn it up the field himself.
Stillwater, though, perennially an excellent second-half football team. 4th and 4, they'll punt it. 4 minutes and running to go in this first half. Blaine leading 14-7. And they should get some fairly good field position here on this punt. And it looks like Kokendorfer will take the punt. Now they'll take a timeout.
Stillwater have to call a timeout there too. Both teams having problems with their special teams, deciding who's supposed to be out there and who's not.
Mike Schlegel, 66, comes on. Scott Tierney leaves the field for Stillwater. Had to call the timeout to avoid the penalty. Now look who's coming on the field for Blaine, or for Stillwater, none other than Coach Thole, and I don't think he's too pleased.
Every now and then the head guy's got to get out there and shake his team up a little bit.
Clock stopped with 3:55 to go in the half. Impressive performance by the Blaine Bengals. They're 3-2 in the conference. Stillwater 4-1. The leaders in the Twin Cities Suburban. Anoka 5-0, number 1 in the Metro and the state. Kokendorfer will do the punting for Stillwater. Right-hand and the kickoff man, Arsdorf, deep. Punt high in the air. Right-hand, no fair catch. Well, he did fair catch it, I guess. Didn't see his arm wave. 32-yard line of Blaine.
Not a whole lot of distance on that kick, but a real nice high spiral. That's the kind of ball that's tough to catch when it's coming down. Kind of a cool night. His hands get a little bit stiff. But right-hand about as sure-handed as they come, and handled it without any problem at all.
When you have a back like right-hand, there's no sense keeping him on the bench during situations that are crucial, and punting situations are crucial, no matter when they are in the game. Man in motion's right-hand. He gets the ball. He's looking to throw. Across the middle and overthrown for Chad Weeks, who is coming from the left wide receiver position.
Not a bad play call. Had to figure right-hand was going to get the ball, but Stillwater not falling for that at all, and he was well covered.
2nd and 10 now for Blaine. They're up to the line quickly.
Right-hand probably there. You're going to see it. Probably shouldn't have really thrown that ball. As you can see, it was extremely well covered.
Now better to overthrow it than anything else, as the pitch is to right-hand left. 6 yards, cuts back, and he gets the gain of 6.
Boy, I like that play. That's a tough one to execute, and Smith did a nice job with the pitch there, because you got to pitch it so far and hit the guy on the run. You see Dave Nelson and a couple of the other Blaine coaches.
3rd down, a long 4 for Blaine at their own 40-yard line, 39, let's call it. Man in motion is Jansen up the middle. On the trap play is right-hand. He only has 2 yards. It'll bring up a 4th and 3.
I think down there, Blaine's got to kick the ball away, you bet.
When George Thole came out there, he meant business, and Stillwater immediately pumped up everything and shuts Blaine down. 3 plays and out.
John Frank going to kick the ball away.
Oh, he almost got it blocked.
Oh, he might have. I think they got a piece of it.
Flag goes down. Looks like a roughing the punter penalty against the punter, Frank.
Well, then he must not have got a piece of it. So if you touch the ball, then you can hit him, but if you don't, got to stay away from him. And even if it's just a running into the kicker, that's 5 yards, and it's still going to be enough for a 1st down.
It's only 4th and 2. Assistant coach has come on the field, a little angry at the ref for what he perceives as a dive by the punter, Frank.
But really not much to talk about there. I don't know what they were. Ooh, that's a big one.
15-yard penalty is going to put it at the Stillwater 44-yard line.
Roughing the kicker on White. First down.
Wow, what a big play that was with 2:30 to go in this first half.
Stillwater's calling another timeout.
I think that's Stillwater's third timeout.
I think you're right.
Both teams, I think, have used up all 3 timeouts. 14-7, Blaine leads it. Stillwater opened the scoring on a Brian Kokendorfer 21-yard run. But since then, Jerry Wrightan scored from 5 yards out. Then Aaron Smith tossed one to A.J. Katsouris from 4th and 5. 4th and goal at the 5-yard line. Blaine took the 14-7 lead. Blaine with new life, 1st and 10. Up the middle. Big hit. Noga on the carry. He got about 2 yards before forward progress. Whacked him back another 5. Actually, he got 3. So Shane Noga on his 5th carry.
Blaine's gonna call their plays at the line.
2:15 to go. And clock running. Noga right behind Aaron Smith. Now Wrightan in motion. Faked everybody. Smith looking. She's the man. Diving for it was Weeks, and he was open. Aaron Smith might have got rid of the ball a little sooner than he could have.
Well, they were starting to close in on him, but you're going to see here, receiver was wide open. Ball was just overthrown.
Yeah, it looked like Smith did get popped as he hit through the ball.
He'd had a nice gain and been able to get out of bounds to stop the clock, too.
3rd down and 7. Clock is stopped with 2:05 in the first half. 42-yard line of Stillwater. Fake to Noga. Man's open. Is Weeks, but it's way overthrown.
Oh, Wrightan out there, too. Just barely overthrown it.
Smith got decked again. That's going to bring up 4th and 7.
Boy, Smith wishes he had that one back, because Wrightan was streaking through the secondary. Nobody near him. Nice job of play action.
It did look like it was intended for Weeks. If Smith had another second, it would have been more apparent he was looking to Wrightan, but Wrightan with just great speed. Now a flag down. Not sure of what the call is.
Illegal procedure.
Legal procedure against Blaine. That won't bother them too much. They'll give the punter Frank some more room to work with in trying to kick the ball out of bounds inside the 20 of Stillwater. Minute 59 to go in the half.
Once the offense is set into a set position, they can't move.
Glenn Harris will be back for Stillwater to receive this punt by John Frank. Big rush again. End over end kick. Harris at his own 20. Scampers trying to get out of bounds. Gets out of bounds about the 23-yard line, I believe. Minute 50 to go in this first half.
Get a look at some of the crowd here at Blaine Stadium. A lot of people here, and over at Stillwater, as always, no matter where they play, they always bring a huge following. Parents and just general fans. Donned in red whenever they can be.
Stillwater trying to get some points on the board before the first half comes to an end.
You may see the ball up in the air a little bit here.
Number 7, Brad Orn, the quarterback for Stillwater, hasn't attempted a pass yet in this game. Hands up the middle to Kokendorfer, and he only gained about 2.
On the carry, 28, Brian Kokendorfer. Tapping for Blaine, number 88, Chris Morano.
For Kokendorfer, 9 carries, 54 yards, so a 6-yard average for Kokendorfer. 2nd down, 7 for Stillwater. Now the wide receivers line way out to the left side. Nelson and Flock. Orn again running. He's wrapped up. And a fumble. And they got it through the Blaine Bengals. Oh, man. It looked all harmless at first. But Blaine with John Hillman recovering the fumble, getting the ball back at the Stillwater 24-yard line with 1:08 to go in this first half.
That's one of the hazards of the option. If you're going to decide to run that ball, there you see you've got to put it away. He was holding it out and was hit and stripped.
25-yard line. Smith throws right off the bat for Weeks, and it's overthrown. Timing pattern. Second and 10.
Smith's arm's a little bit too strong here tonight.
Andy Bowe with Steve Glenn at Blaine High School. 52 seconds to go in this first half. Blaine leading at 14-7, and Stillwater just fumbled. And Blaine recovered at the Stillwater Ponies' 24-yard line. Now it's 2nd and 10. Ben Mackey, the wide receiver to the right. Smith throwing again. Crossing pattern, right 10, off his fingers, intercepted. Harris has it for Stillwater, and they get the ball right back.
Ball went right through right hand's hand, thrown a little bit high. Still could have been pulled down.
Right hand not happy with himself. And there's Glenn Harris, 33.
Little tip drill that defensive backs go through every day of the summer in practice, and then every day during the season. Here you're going to see it. Right through right hand's hands, he tipped it up. And
right hand probably heard some footsteps. And 44 seconds to go in Stillwater. Now a penalty on Stillwater, and it's a big one.
Personal foul, number 61, Blue, late hit.
Late hit on Blaine's. Number 61, Joe Procopio. Stillwater now a big break for the Ponies out to the 35-yard line of Blaine. Brad Orn under center. Stillwater new life. Got away with the break. Pulls Zine out to the left. Split backfield. New quarterback in is not Orn.
oh, there's pass interference
And
right
pass
there in a big
interference
way.
will be called. Don Harvo, the new quarterback for Stillwater. He's our designated thrower. He's got a better arm than Orn. And look at this penalty. With 12 seconds to go in this first half. Not sure where it will be marked.
Don Harvo actually listed as a defensive back, not even a quarterback. That was obviously interference. They just tackled him back there. Josh Campbell, a junior, started the year at quarterback for Stillwater.
Defensive pass interference, first down.
10-yard penalty for Blaine. And defense was lining up where the foul occurred, and they're happy to be at the 50-yard line. Only 12 seconds to go. Blaine leads it 14-7. Harvo.
Orn taking over a couple games into the season, and now Harvo taking over tonight.
Two wide receivers to the right. Harvo fumbles a snap, and it looks like Blaine's got it. 8 seconds to go, and Blaine is turning into a comedy of fumbles. We'll have a chance to possibly 2 plays, but most likely 1 play to
I think the
air
clock,
it out.
I think, Andy, the clock starts in high school ball as soon as it's set.
The ball boy hurrying, trying to get off the field. Aaron Smith now. They'll snap it as soon as that. Well, Aaron Smith's barking out the signals, and this will be the last play of the half now because of it. He's under a lot of pressure, airs it out. Harris is there, and Harris can't pick this one off. Nevertheless, time has run out in the first half. Blaine impressively up 14-7 after Stillwater opened the game with a quick touchdown. We'll take a break, be back with the first half statistics after this.